So I'm going to jump into it right now that I've got it all set up here, folks. Let me see if I got any music for the background. I could probably put something in there real quick just to kind of just a little more interest auto. Oh, hey, there's that workout thing. Hold on, who's here? Um, I've got some music I'd like for just to jam on real quick. I should have this set up. I don't do stuff properly sometimes. I do things backwards. So, that being said, here, where am I at? Price. Here we go. And then, oh, yes. Broke. Oh, oh, right here. All right. So, here's what we got, folks. Bust this out for you. While there isn't a direct solidity on the XRP ledger in the same way it works on Ethereum, the core concept you're describing, tokenized real world assets, and its effect on the XRP price discovery is a significant and evolving topic. The XRP ledger, or XRPL, has its own native capabilities for issuing and managing custom tokens, and an EVM, the Ethereum Virtual Machine sidechain, has been launched to bring Ethereum compatible smart contracts, including those written in Solidity, to the XRPL ecosystem. This integration is what makes the scenario you're asking about possible. And I said, what is the price discovery? And I believe this is Gemini, you guys. So we're gonna go ahead and see what Gemini has to go on and say even more about this. So the mechanism of real world asset tokenization on the XRPL. Tokenization on the XRPL is the process of representing a tangible asset like real estate or fine art as a digital token on a blockchain. This is achieved using the XRPL's native issued currencies feature, which allows the creation of custom tokens that can represent anything from a fiat currency to a share in a company. These tokens function similarly to IOUs and are managed on the ledger. With this recent launch of EVM compatible sidechain, developers can now also use Solidity contracts on the XRPL. Managing custom tokens and the EVM Ethereum virtual machine sidechain has been launched to bring Ethereum compatible smart contracts, including those written in Solidity, to the XRP ecosystem. This integration is what makes the scenario. Oh, XRP's role in this. The price discovery of XRP's dynamic process influenced by the various factors and the tokenization of real world assets adds a new and powerful dimension where XRP's value is traditionally tied to its use cases as a bridge currency for cross border payments. However, the XRPL has become a hub for tokenized assets. XRP's role expands. It acts as a native asset required for transaction fees on the XRPL. All right, and is often the liquidity pair for these new tokens on the XRP's built-in decentralized exchange or the DEX. This means that every transaction involving a tokenized asset, buying, selling, or transferring, requires a small amount of XRP for the network fee. This constant programmatic demand for XRP directly influences the market price. The more tokenized assets there are, the more they are traded, and the more utility and demand is created for XRP. Now, with the sidechain development on the XRPL, we've got Solidity-based contracts, so that's kind of like further liquidity and market accessibility. One of the most, this is Gemini, you guys. This is not Grok. I got Grok's assessment next. I'm gonna go over that next. So check this out. So liquidity and market accessibility. One of the most significant impacts of tokenization is the potential to unlock the vast amounts of previously illiquid capital. A high value asset, much as a commercial building or a rare piece of art, can be divided for fractional tokens. This allows a much wider range of investors to participate. As the barrier to entry is dramatically lowered, these tokens can be bought and sold 24/7 on the XRPL's DEX, creating a transparent and liquid secondary market. The increased liquidity and accessibility of these assets directly contribute to their price discovery. The constant trading activity provides real time market data, allowing for a more accurate valuation of the underlying asset. This, in turn, makes the entire ecosystem more attractive to both individual and institutional investors, fueling a positive feedback loop. Positive feedback loop, let's get into that. The price discovery for a feedback loop. Check this one out. The interaction between tokenized assets and XRP's price is a powerful feedback loop. As more real world assets are tokenized on the XRP, the demand for XRP increases due to its use in transaction fees as a liquid pair. This increased demand can drive up the price. Let's see if anyone leaves any comments. Where's that? Anyway. So we got here, it says, as a more real-world asset are tokenized in the Xrpl, the demand for XRP increases due to its use in transaction fees as a liquidity pair. This increased demand can drive up the price of XRP. A higher price, in turn, makes the Xrpl a more attractive and reputable platform, encouraging even more institutional and developers to tokenize their assets on it. This creates a cycle where the growth of the tokenized asset market and the value of XRP mutually reinforce each other. The transparency and efficiency of the Xrpl ledger and DEX also mean that the price discovery process is more open and resilient to manipulation than traditional markets. This symbiotic relationship between tokenized assets and their native cryptocurrency is a key driver for the long-term value proposition of the entire ecosystem. I pull this up again. Now I ask, what happens if you have a public ledger, finally unify with the private ledger? And I got a 2-paragraph comprehensive on this real quick. So this is also from Gemini. The idea of a private ledger unification is a pivotal concept in the future of finance, often referred to as a unified ledger or the finternet. If this scenario takes place, it will represent a fundamental shift in how financial institutions operate, and it would have a profound and transformative impact on XRP's role in price discovery. This unification would not mean a single one ledger to rule them all, but rather a seamless interoperability where private permissioned ledgers used by institutions for sensitive transactions are directly connected to the public permissionless ledger like the Xrpl. This would create a common value or venue where tokenized assets from private ledgers can interact with the liquidity and transparency of the public ledger. For example, a bank could use a private ledger to tokenize a commercial mortgage, but then use the public ledger, the Xrpl, as DEX to find buyers and execute the transactions with instant settlement. Oh, wow. This interoperability would eliminate the current friction costs and time delays associated with moving assets between different systems, creating a more efficient and interconnected global financial system. When the public ledger and private ledger unify, the price discovery for XRP would enter a new paradigm. Oh gosh, a paradigm, folks! Now check this out. It's funny how it says paradigm, right? Because we have another one. We have Grok, who uses the same description of a scenario. So let's go on. The current data about whether institutional transactions on the private ledgers are hidden from public market would become obsolete. The unification would make the public ledger the indisputable hub for liquidity and settlement. This would mean that every time an institution used its private ledger to, for example, tokenize a massive asset like a portfolio of loans, and then needed to move or sell that token on the open market, it would have to engage with the Xrpl's public ledger and its DEX. This constant high volume flow of institutional capital into the public ledger would create a massive and sustained demand for XRP, as every transaction on the ledger requires a small amount of XRP for the network fee. This direct verifiable utility would tie XRP's value not just to its use as a bridge currency, but to the token value of all assets being tokenized and transacted across the unified financial ecosystem. This direct programmatic demand would make XRP's price discovery far more transparent and mathematically driven, moving it away from speculative sentiment and closer to a function of real-world economic activity on the ledger. Holy smokes, right, folks? Okay, so check this out. Now I'm going to go over to Grok because I asked Grok the same thing. Check this one out. Up here, I said, hey man, I said, I need a 7 paragraph comprehensive assessment on the price discovery of the cryptocurrency XRP. If these things specifically happen now, one, the utility, the tokenization of RWAs, and and the ability to apply these tokens onto a specific ledger via the Ethereum Solidity smart contract capability. And what would happen when the private ledger and public ledger become unified? And so this is Grok. Grok, Grok. Shame on Grok. So check this out. Introduction of XRPL's price discovery context. XRP, the native cryptocurrency of the XRP ledger, XRPL, has long been positioned as a bridge currency for facilitating fast, low-cost cross-border payments transactions. Price discovery for XRP, like any cryptocurrency, is influenced by market dynamics, adoption, utility, and technological advancements. The hypothetical scenario where real-world assets or RWAs are tokenized, integrated with Ethereum Solidity smart contracts, and unified across a private and public ledger introduces significant implications for XRP. Really? So, let's see. Tokenization of real-world assets onto the XRPs. So the tokenization of RWAs such as real estate, bonds, or commodities converts physical assets into digital tokens on a blockchain, enhancing liquidity and accessibility. The XRPL, or XRP ledger, with its low transaction fees and fast settlement times of 3 to 5 seconds, is well suited for RWA tokenization, as evidenced by Ripple's strategic focus on this market. Projected to reach 16 trillion by 2030, tokenized assets like U.S. Treasury bills and stablecoins, e.g., the RLUSD, already demonstrate XRPL's capability to handle institutional-grade financial products. Increased tokenization on XRPL would likely boost demand for XRP, as it serves as a native currency for transaction fees and a liquidity bridge, potentially driving price appreciation through higher transaction volumes and institutional adoption. Integrating with Ethereum Solidity smart contracts. The ability to apply tokenized RWAs to the XRPL via Ethereum Solidity smart contract capability introduces a transformative layer of programmability. Ripple's recent announcement of an Ethereum virtual machine EVM sidechain enabling Solidity-based smart contracts allows developers to leverage Ethereum's robust ecosystem while utilizing XRPL's efficiency. This interoperability could enable complex DeFi applications such as tokenized asset lending or yielding farming, direct involving XRP. By bridging Ethereum's smart contract functionality with the XRPL's low-cost transactions, XRP could see increased utility as a settlement or collateral token in DeFi protocols, enhancing its price discovery through broader market participation and speculative interest. The unification of the private and public ledger. All right, so the merging this, look at folks, look at this. Again, both of them are calling it a paradigm. The unification of private and public ledgers represents a paradigm shift, merging the compliance-heavy permission systems of traditional finance with the transparent, decentralized nature of public blockchains like XRPL. Ripple's partnership with banks and financial institutions such as Archax and Braza Bank position XRPL as a hub for institutional DeFi, where tokenized assets can explore I can't even see that. Friction as assets transfer and improve. So let's go here. Let's see. Currencies increased interoperability would likely attract institutional capital, driving XRP's demand and price stability. Impact on XRP's price discovery. Check this one out. The combined effect of RWA tokenization, Solidity integration, and ledger unification would significantly enhance XRP's price discovery. Increasing adoption of XRPL for tokenized assets would drive transaction volumes requiring more XRP fees and liquidity provisions, directly impacting market value. Posts on X suggest institutional adoption could unlock a $196 trillion market, with XRP positioned as a key facilitator. Additionally, EVM compatibility could attract DeFi developers, increasing speculative trading and investor interest. The unification of ledgers would further amplify this, enabling seamless asset flows, reducing market fragmentation, and fostering a more efficient price discovery process, potentially pushing XRP's price toward new highs as seen with its current trading level of $3.18. Now, this is where it gets even better, folks. The conclusion. The conclusion. But here we go. We're going to go with the challenges. So look at, despite the bullish outlook, challenges remain. Regulatory hurdles such as KYC, AML, compliance for tokenized assets could slow adoption, particularly in jurisdictions with stringent rules. Smart contract vulnerabilities, especially when integrating Solidity, pose risk as coding errors could undermine trust in XRPL-based DeFi applications. Additionally, reliance on oracles for off-chain data in tokenized assets introduces potential points of failure, requiring robust solutions like Chainlink. Well, guess who's partnered with Ripple and XRP? Chainlink is. Oh, wow, you can't even make that up. Oh, so let's keep going. Market competition from Ethereum and other blockchains with dominant RWA tokenization could limit XRPL's market share unless its low cost and compliance features are aggressively marketed. These risks could temper XRPL's price growth if not addressed. Now, the conclusion. Conclusion and future outlook. If you made it far, folks, good for you. So check it out. The conclusion and future outlook. The convergence. Oh, this is where it gets great. The convergence of the RWA tokenization, Ethereum Solidity smart contract integration, and private public ledger unification positions XRP for a potential price discovery renaissance. By enhancing XRPL's utility, attracting institutional and DeFi participants, and streamlining global asset flows, these developers could drive XRP's price significantly higher, potentially aligning with optimistic projections of $10,000 XRP per in token. Ah! Grok, shame on you. How dare you, Grok? I'm not, hey folks, not financial advice, but Grok does not see that being very far off. Interestingly enough. Thanks for joining.